Welcome, y'all. In this episode of Our Mindful Nature, you will discover how to deepen your meditation practice and expand both your intention and attention. Let's talk about how. Welcome. You are listening to Our Mindful Nature, formerly titled The Mindful Minute. I'm your host, Meryl Arnett. This podcast explores the deep connection between land and self through nature-based meditations and meditative experiences that invite us back into belonging to each other, to our ancestors, to the earth, and to all beings that make up this universe. If you would like to access these meditation practices as standalone audio files, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. It's free, and you'll receive a new mini meditation each week, along with behind-the-scenes content and bonus material for each podcast episode. All right, grab a cup of tea, pop in your headphones, and find a comfy seat. Let's settle in for today's episode. All right, my friends, happy Monday. Happy rainy Monday if you're here in Atlanta with me. It was kind of a gloomy one, but I am glad to be with you in this Zoom room tonight talking about heartfulness. And I'll just take a step back to sort of give context to it and let us all land in the same place. Last week, I introduced this concept of heartfulness, which is maybe not new really to anybody. It might be very well known at this point, but the word mindfulness, the word it's translated from in Pali, truthfully more closely translates to the word heartfulness. And in fact, this practice, mindfulness in many other languages, is indeed called heartfulness. And what I put out in class last week for us all to sort of reflect on is what changes when you refer to this practice as heartfulness? Does it feel different to you? How does it feel different to you when you compare it to saying mindfulness? Because I think we lob that word around quite a bit, right? Where we mindfully do laundry and we mindfully go for a walk and we mindful this and we mindful that. And just like with every great word out there, we use it too much and then we start to forget what it really means. And so this invitation to shift our perception and our language to heartfulness is an invitation really to approach practice with fresh eyes. It's an invitation to say, let me take everything I think I know, everything that I have already experienced and already tried and done a good job with or a bad job with, and let me just set it over here for a minute. I'm just going to push it off to the side. And I'm going to instead say, what's this new thing that's right in front of me right now? Heartfulness. And I don't want to make some sort of definition for you because I want you to find what this means for you or to feel what this means for you. But the invitations that we started with last night are, this is likely going to be an experience that feels like you're moving down into your body versus living or thinking or practicing from the neck up, right? And I talked about how even with my eyes closed in practice, often my focal point is somewhere up in my head, right? Unintentionally, I think, but my inner gaze tends to go up in practice. And with heartfulness, I just very consciously direct that gaze down. I direct attention down, whether that's to the center of the chest, that sort of spiritual heart center or not. It could be in the gut, could be in the hips, could be anywhere in the body. But I think it's bringing a sense of the body to practice. I think it is bringing a sense of curiosity and receptiveness to the practice. You'll remember last week I said it's this invitation to be like a co-participant in the practice. versus the manager of the practice. And what a lovely gift that is, right? Anybody who's ever been in charge of anybody else, you're like, what a gift to like get to pass that buck off and be like, I'm just here to be a participant today. I'll take it. Thank you. Let me sit on this cushion and enjoy. So I want to add another element today. And I know you'll be completely shocked and floored that I'm going to add the element through the lens of nature. Totally unheard of in this class, right? But I am, because what a lovely, easy way to connect to heart is to step outside. Lovely and easy, and also so easily overlooked, right? And we've talked about before in Monday Night Meditation, we have talked about green blindness, this capacity to go outside but not really see. We just see like green, but we don't see individual plants. We don't see individual leaves. We see birds, but we don't see individual birds, right? And this is really the concept I want to get at tonight. And I think the best way to describe it, these words come from Rebecca Bradshaw, who's a Dharma teacher in the Insight meditation lineage. And she wrote, familiarity breeds laziness of perception. Familiarity breeds laziness of perception. What an overarching, hugely important thing for each of us to be aware of. Easy to see when you talk about going outside. I know what my backyard looks like. I've seen it a million times. I know what that sidewalk looks like, or that trail, or that park, right? And because we have seen it, our brain thinks, well, let me just help you out here. You don't really have to pay attention to this because I know. So don't worry. You can think your thoughts. You can worry about what's going to happen in the future. You can rehash that argument you had yesterday. You don't really have to see this because it's familiar. We know what to expect. Same thing happens to us in our relationships with people, right? Familiarity breeds laziness of perception. I already know what you're going to say before you say it, right? I know exactly how my kid's going to behave, how my partner's going to behave, how my boss is going to behave, how my roommate, familiarity breeds laziness of perception. It takes away the opportunity for us to show up and go, I wonder what's going to happen today. And instead of that familiarity, what I want to invite for us in the practice of heartfulness is an invitation into intimacy with the moment. I want to show up and be fully available to what is here to be noticed. And that comes through our senses. It comes through sight, it comes through sound, it comes through smell, taste, feel. I like really literally have debated all day whether I'm going to actually say this, but I'm just going to do it, even though it makes me sound like such a millennial, which I really try to avoid. But I'm like way into birds. It's like so on trend, I know, but I am. And I got these great binoculars and I go out in my backyard sometimes. And the backyard's the backyard. It's been the same. We've lived here for, I think, going on 5 years. So it's a familiar backyard and the birds are familiar. And there's something entirely different about focused attention on a singular bird in a way that you haven't seen it before. It feels like an entirely different experience of the same thing that you're like, I know exactly what a bluebird looks like. I know a woodpecker, right? I can hear the woodpecker from a mile away and I know what it is. But when we turn both our intention, our attention, and our intention to this one singular thing in front of us with fresh eyes, with fresh heart, our experience of it changes. And that's where I'm going tonight, right? This is true when we step outside. And I want to name that often when I step outside, it's for a little break in the day because I'm feeling at my wit's end for whatever reason. And those are the moments I don't choose to sit on my meditation cushion. I'm tired or upset or drained, or I just don't have the energy to like sort of direct my attention inward and be with myself. And so I step outside. But the presence, the heartfulness is still part of that experience, right? The invitation to be with the moment as it is part of that experience of just being outside. And likewise, when we come and we sit down, as we're doing here together tonight, the invitation is the same. Can I show up with intention and attention for whatever is here for me right now? Even if I think I know, even if I've sat in this spot every Monday night for 5 years and I know exactly what practice is going to feel like, can I very gently endeavor to release all that familiarity and sit with fresh ears, fresh eyes, fresh heart, and just be curious? And so that's how we'll practice this evening. And this soundscape is a soundscape, I think, of familiarity. We hear birds, we hear all the elements at various moments in the practice. We hear singing bowls woven through a good bit of it. And my invitation to you is to catch yourself when you're like, I know this sound. I like it, or I don't like it. Favorite bird, least favorite bird. Favorite element, least favorite element. Catch yourself when those are the thoughts. And just see what happens if you can soften a bit in the center of the heart, in the center of the belly, and just invite in, what if I didn't know? What if this wasn't about my mind? And I got to just be here in a completely intimate, open way without any sense of familiarity. Yeah? Let's try a little practice tonight. So take a moment to get yourself comfortable. You can shift around and be wherever you'd like to be. You can lie down, you can lean against the wall behind you, sit on a chair or a couch. You let your hands rest onto your lap. You're going to decide if you want your eyes to be closed or if you prefer to take a soft gaze down towards the ground. Taking all the time you need to settle in and be comfortable for you. And once you've found your spot, once you've gotten yourself exactly where you need to be right now, together as a group, let's take a nice deep breath in and exhale out a sigh. And we'll just do that again, inhaling deeply. Exhaling out a sigh. And allowing your breath just to flow just as it normally would. And we begin our practice by silently saying to ourselves, now is my time to meditate. Now is my time to meditate. And as you say those words, let's just release any sense of familiarity. We'll invite in curiosity. Perhaps we'll invite in a willingness to be intimate with this moment. Taking a moment as your breath flows just to imagine, see, or feel yourself drawing a circle around your body. This circle that you draw can be any color, any texture, any material. And it serves first and foremost as a circle of protection. Holding at bay the demands of the outside world. Holding at bay the doubts, the worries, the to-dos. This circle also serves as a circle of support. A circle of energy, of spirit. Feel free to ask for exactly what you need for tonight's practice. And as we feel both supported and safe, perhaps you'll find that you can soften a bit more now. Letting go of any obvious tension in the body. Especially relaxing through the belly. Through the heart. Through the shoulders and the jaw. Relaxing your cheeks. Your eyes. Softening across your forehead and behind your forehead. Very gradually beginning to feel your body breathing. Feeling breath as it moves into the body. Feeling breath as it moves out of the body. And as you breathe, you find all these other things happening. Thoughts, sounds, memories, ideas. And our only work this evening is to continue to soften. And to silently say to ourselves, I wonder what will happen next. I wonder what will happen next. We feel a breath. We think a thought. We identify a sound. I wonder what will happen next. Inviting ourselves to stay heartful, to stay freshly intimate with each breath, each sound as it unfolds. We'll have about 8 minutes here in silence together. And I'll bring us out at the end. Feeling your breath here. I wonder what will happen next. And perhaps you'll start to move fingers and toes, feeling into your edges as if they were brand new. And perhaps you'll more deeply breathe into the body and more completely exhale. Taking all the time you need to let go of the practice, to very gradually open your eyes if they were closed. And perhaps to carry that sense of curiosity or intimacy or heartfulness forward into the next moment and the next. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Our Mindful Nature. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider sharing it with a friend or leaving me a review wherever you get your podcasts. It helps others to find the show, and let's face it, we could all use a few more meditators in our lives. Our Mindful Nature is recorded on Muskogee land and produced with the support of Brianna Nielsen. Deep gratitude is offered to acoustic ecologists Gordon Hempton and Nick McMahon for the use of their nature field recordings in many of these episodes. To join my live classes, ask questions, or learn about my teacher trainings, please visit merylarnett.com. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next week.